Assalamu alaikum, I'm Basra this side and we are back with another review. And guess what we'll be reviewing this time? Another classic from the hands of Anita Desai, this time Fire on the Mountain. It had been rated 3.6 by the Goodreads on Google. Before we get into the review, I would just like to clear out one thing, that these are just my personal experience and opinions on the book. If you don't like any of it, scroll down, go watch another video. And if you have any suggestion, advice to give me, the comment box is open. Go and comment whatever you want to. Now let's begin the intro. I think I bought this book around late December 2021. It initially starts off with a very slow pace, trust me. It describes everything. It has a descriptive kind of nature. So it describes each and every surrounding, each and every character, so that the readers can actually make up an image of what they are reading. So it tries to pull off that vibe. After reading chapter 2 and 3 from part 1, oh, for your information, it has 3 parts, which each one of them has about 20 to 21 chapters. The chapters are not that long. We will get into that later, the length of the book. Then again, I put it back onto my shelf, and
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, she forgot about it.
then after a while, when I woke up from my delulu state and dreams that yes, I have to do a review for the book, I again picked it up and then started reading, and trust me, I read it, binge read it in 2 days. It's that after that. The first thing that I liked about the book was that its length. Okay, it's 145 pages, not that much for a reader. Then I guess I fell in love with the hardcover. It was very cheap, I guess. I bought it from a library, okay, a local library. It wasn't that much, the price wasn't that much. Moreover, it was hardcover, so I think yes, this one is a deal, because I bought it thinking that my semester would be going on and I would have to do a review for that, so a short book would be a deal. This book was the deal for that. The synopsis of the book is not that revealing, so I bought it thinking it is just a casual book until I finished it, and I realize now that how violent this book is. Secondly, we'll talk about the characters. Okay, first of all, before describing it, I would just comment one thing, that the characters are my spirit animals, and you tell me whether they are yours as well when I actually tell you what the characters really are. In the beginning, we are introduced with the main character, Nanda Kaul. She is a widow of an ex-vice chancellor of Punjab University. She is an aged woman. Basically, she loves isolation, seclusion, and before you suggest anything, let me tell you one thing, that she is not an introvert. Okay, she has had her shares of acquaintances, she has had taken care of a lot of people, that now after fulfilling all of her duties, she wants peace, she wants seclusion, she wants to live alone. And let me enlighten you with the fact that this story takes place post colonial rule, just after that. Okay, so Danda Kaul lives in a castle in Himalaya alone. The castle is known as Karignano, the house is known as Karignano, and she loves seclusion. She doesn't want any of her family member to be with her. um, let me remind you that I told you main characters are my spirit animals. Okay, now what is the main reason behind all of her living alone and all that? We'll get into that later. Secondly, we are introduced with Raka, her great granddaughter, who is also a peculiar child. And when I say different, she literally is different. I mean it. She's not like any other kind of child, like hoo ha, like everything that children basically do. No, she's very different. She too loves seclusion. She's a carbon copy of her great grandmother. She wants to adventure, she wants to explore, but all by herself. Thirdly, we are introduced with another main character, Ila Das, who is a long lost friend of Nanda Kaul. So she is also very peculiar. She is also very strange, weird kind of character, because she's very clumsy. First of all, she has a voice of agitated parrot as described by the author. Secondly, she loves intruding. Nanda Kaul, who loves isolation. Ila Das, on the contrary, is someone who likes to intrude people's places. But at the same time, she's also very considering. Okay, we'll not get into that now. The reason of staying alone and in seclusion is that Nanda Kaul, she is a widow. Obviously, she has had her acquaintances of taking care of a lot of people, and now she just wants to be alone. Secondly, her marital life was not that great after all. She has created this fantasy life for herself where she is the best. The main character is her and her father, and she goes places where she hasn't been in her fantasy. And this is the reason she wants to be alone, because she can create her own fantasies, fallacies, and also reverism, where she is the main character and she has won in fantasies, whereas the reality is very different from her fantasy, so she doesn't want to be hit with reality. Now Raka comes to live at Carignano because of her post typhoid weakness and illness, and her reason of living in isolation and not socializing with people is very different from that of Nanda Kaul's, because she has been in an illness almost all her life. So she knows what kind of people she has to interact with, and there are certain people she doesn't want to include in her life. So she wants to explore, she wants to adventure, she wants to live her life, but not under surveillance of anyone. Then there's Iladas. Iladas is an introvert disguising as extrovert, who is also a character who has had a lot of psychological traumas from her past life that she is now struggling with her present. She also has her own ups and downs throughout the story. We get to know that. Now the title, Fire on the Mountain. If we talk about it in literal sense, there has been many instances in the book where the author describes that fire on the mountain is not very rare or occasional thing to happen. It is quite frequent. If we talk about it metaphorically, it suggests the fire suppressed in the hearts of the women in the story, which is set ablaze by the gradual events that take place throughout the story. Quite depressing. Now, about the author, Anita Desai was born in 1937. She was educated in Delhi. She has her works published in a lot of novels, short stories, children's stories, and I was quite impressed by the very first work that I read of this author, so I'm certainly going to give another try. Now, this book was published in 1977, almost 4 decades, and I know there are a lot of people who have already reviewed this book, but I still wanted to give it a try because it's a gem. So my experience has been very on and off with this book because first I lost interest in this book, and no, shame on my procrastination, not the book. Because later, when I started reading it religiously, I found that this book is amazing. So thank you so much for sticking up until this very end. If you liked the video, like, share and subscribe, and comment below what you liked about the book if you have already read the book. And if you have any new suggestions for the book that I must do a review for, you know what to do. Have a great day. Jazakallah. And I know how to say protagonist now. Bye bye.